have returned. Okay, some shields we need to talk about are now the fleet shields. They have been very good. They just reduce damage to a certain type and give you the adapt feature on them. Basically plus 20% all damage resistance to that type that you are getting shot with, but it has to stack first. So if someone is trying to one-shot you, it will not protect you. The covariant ones have a very high cap. If you get the RyanSTO as the warp deal plasma damage, these ones get up to 35% damage reduction with a quite high cap. If you use the Valdor console, however, your regen on the shield itself doesn't really matter, so I personally prefer to go with either covariant shield arrays or resilient ones. They have lower regen on their own, but that doesn't really matter as you have the console to take care of your shield healing anyways. Okay, so that is basically what we are looking for if we are building a beamboat of some sort. So if you would go for dual beam banks, you would just switch out all the upfront arrays to dual beam banks. You would get to your back one of the omnidirectionals, and that would basically be it. Let me, however, switch over to my Federation ship now, which is currently in the known scenario layout, to show you. Oh, is that the right guy? It's not the right ship. Well, anyway, so let's just start out with this, which we will see with cannons. So, okay, we need to dock here. I could actually switch ships in space, I think. Anyways, I'll just do this really quick. Now cannons have different set bonuses that we didn't cover so far. The problem is you usually need either a cannon or a turret to complement these set bonuses or set powers, and therefore they really should only be used on ships that actually use them anyways. Like if you have a Federation Fleet Assault Cruiser, get 7 arrays with the kinetic cutting beam, and then put one turret there to complement the phaser bonus, it's not really worth it. It's not really worth it. Okay, as you can see here, this is basically what my ship currently looks like. You will always find the 5 TAC consoles, crit chance obviously, you will always find the assimilated module, kinetic cutting, you will find the plasmonic leech console. I have the 2-piece Nukara on the counter command deflector. So basically all I tried to explain to you before why this is good. Also what we need to point out is if you upgrade items currently, let me just show you, upgrade item. This one increases its energy weapons training from 8.8 to 9.4. That has been increased, okay? However, if you increase your sets, their powers are not being increased. So the 2-piece bonus of this will still be 2.5% at Mark 13. That's why I just didn't do it so far. It doesn't really seem worth it. Which actually might make the Romulan engine at some point pull ahead, as the increase on your attack patterns also gets better and better with every single upgrade. So this might change a little if you play Delta Rising, but currently I run this. The Fleet Integrated Plasma Warp Core, which is the Spire one, reduces all my power drain, gives you warp core efficiency. I think we talked about all that also. As you can see here, I run a base of 15 shield power, and the forward number says 61. That will easily get improved to above 75 in combat. On top of that, obviously, then the emergency powder shields. Okay, so additional set bonuses could be the heavy biomolecular phaser turret, working together with the hydrodynamics compensator. You could complement the set with different items. You could also use the tactical counter command conduit energy relay. That is, however, only slottable in a tag console slot, and it just sucks for tag console. Okay, it doesn't give you crit chance. It gives you like 13 or 16% phaser damage, so that's really not worth having in there. And the biomolecular photon torpedo launcher, as we talked earlier, shouldn't really be used either. So what this two-piece does, it gives you plus 7.5% bonus phaser and disruptor energy weapon damage. Now you could say, oh, this is less than the 7.6% of the Romulan plasma array that we talked earlier. However, if you look at the damage number of this, it is almost 1.8k. If I now just remove this console, which only gave us auxiliary power targeting systems, so this one shouldn't change too much, and it lost almost 100, actually a little over 100 DPS. Okay, so these 7.5% again are real damage on this. So this bonus really is really good. Like if you look at the forward number there, you can see it a little easier. It now says 2.7 thousand phaser damage. If I remove the console, it is just about 2.5k, so that is about 7.5%. So this is real percentage again, okay? Same way with the two-piece of your Nukara set. So these sets are really worth having in there compared to the other ones that give 7.6 to something, or even the actually, let me see if I have the console on here. The bioneural infusion circuits belongs to another two-piece, which works with the Alachi heavy crescent wave cannon. This gives you plus 7.6% disruptor damage. This one is also not a real percentage, so this will actually give you way less, like 1/3 of what the two-piece phaser and disruptor bonus gives you. However, as the disruptor is the only set that has one additional set power to it, with the conjunction of the bioneural fusion circuits and the crescent wave cannon, disruptors or cannons probably are the way to go right now if you do not have phasers and the Fleet Patrol Escort. The Fleet Patrol Escort comes with the Canadian Saturation Bomb, which deals phaser damage, just like the Spinal Lance on the Heavy Dreadnought carrier. They also benefit from you having more phaser damage. Therefore, you are basically forced to take phaser damage on here. Okay, that's not a big deal, as you get the real important 7.5% increase on top of it. So you would only go for disruptors if you get the elite disruptors. That can be kind of cool, or if you get the other set power on top of what you already have. As this is my No One layout, we have the Assaultana Simulator console. That one is really good in No One scenario. Other than that, it is basically the same. So if we were to build a regular cannon boat out of this, we would just drop this console for something else that is more benefiting. This could be the bioneural infusion circuits for the crit damage. It could be the Tachyo for the crit chance and crit severity. As you can see here, the ultra rare has a 1.1% chance and some crit severity. It could also be the plasma consoles with flow caps. So there is plenty of opportunity here. The 0 point could be good. Another set that could be good is the Dyson combination of the experimental array and the console to that, which is called the proton particle stabilizer. They give you, for a 2-piece bonus, a 3% crit chance, so that could actually be kind of cool. To drop the 0 point for it, as you gain just 1% more crit chance, and you get the electroplasma system, which is like 1 power per second increase, or 20% of what you already have if you upgrade this console. So generally it is a little better on the console, but you have to give up one of your weapons for this. And the experimental array, even though it has quite high DPS already, it doesn't benefit from your weapon type if you don't run Proton. So it's probably somewhere really freaking close. Okay, so that is basically what we are looking at, what you should get. Okay, for cannons you get cannons, for beams you get beams. Could also go for dual beam mags. These are the set powers. Now there are certain modifiers that can come with weapons. The dual heavy cannons always get plus 10% crit severity over other cannons like single cannons or dual cannons. That's why you usually run dual heavy cannons. They also consume less power as they cycle the shots differently. Yeah. Okay, just basically this is experience. Like everyone does it, it works fine, and I have not seen someone else perform better with other cannons. So if you want to put all over your ship turrets, feel free to do so, but you have to keep in mind that turrets just don't deal that much damage. If you look at the modifiers on the weapon itself, you could get damage, you could get crit chance, you could get crit damage, you could get accuracy. Those are the four major ones basically. Then you could get single one time only effects on them, like penetration, which is on this turret. It ignores a certain amount of armor rating. You could get rapid on cannons, you could get like slow, you could get a movement increase to you. There's a lot of fancy stuff, but most of it really doesn't do much. The penetration itself reduces the armor rating of your enemy. The problem is that DRs at some point, and if you put this debuff on an enemy that hasn't any debuffs, you would get almost a 9% damage increase out of this. If you, however, put it on an enemy that has already one beta 3, one fire on my mark on him, that would diminish to 4% already. So if you have a real PvE group, the penetration seems to lose at the end. There are rumors it might be stackable. We haven't, or at least I haven't been able to see anyone do this consistently. So if you run it on a cannonball for no one scenario, I definitely see how that one is good. If you run it for something else, I would go for crit D times 3. You have to understand at this point that the effect that is on a weapon only works for the shots of that specific weapon. Like, just because my two left cannons have crit H and the two right ones have crit D, they don't all get crit H and crit D. Every weapon gets its own modifiers, okay? So we get a lot of crit H from this, we get crit H from the assimilated module, we get crit H from our bridge officers. So if you look at the stats table of your ship, you would get something of crit H and crit severity. Let's actually switch back to our Romulan ship, as they are a little higher in numbers there, just to point out what we expect to see as a reasonable range, basically. Let's go into space. For some reason you have to go into space to actually see the tooltips correctly. You probably know that already, but if you didn't, well, there it is. Okay, he may go away. Stats on this ship are 27.3% crit chance and 120.2% crit severity. On top of that, we get the crit D times 3 of our anti-protons and another 20%. So basically, we are sitting on 200% crit severity and 27.3% crit chance. This weapon now also has an increase on that. And to understand which one is good of that, I brought up this beautiful thing. Basically, what we are seeing here is this formula, which we have plotted. So 100 times you shoot minus your crit chance. Like if you have 30% crit chance, I have now this made so 100 is 100%. So This one in front is how much damage you get from non-critical hits. You will obviously deal 100 damage, or I norm it to that now. If you don't critically hit, you don't get any crit severity out of this. Therefore, you would just get out of 70% normal hit chance, like 30% crit hit chance, you would get 70 times 100, and you would get your crit chance times 150 and your crit severity on top of that. Now the crit severity that is here listed starts out at 50 if you do not have any items, and then gets increased by all the things you slot. Okay, so to make this correct, we should actually put 100 here as our, if we enter the 50 as crit severity from the other one. Now what this tells you is if you increase your crit chance, your damage will get more. If you only increase your crit chance, that is. If you only increase your crit damage, you would not gain as much damage because your crit chance at 0% is actually 0. So additional crit hit damage does nothing. If you look at the 2D contour plot for this, you basically can see that you still deal the exactly same damage if you have 300% crit hit damage but no crit chance. It can't benefit it, okay? And if you have 100% crit chance, your damage will be quite okay as you start out with 50 crit severity. But to further increase it, there's this optimal line, like you need a combination of crit chance and crit severity to give you the most benefit. So that just for the ease of this calculation, basically, we should actually put 200 in here, as I forgot to do this with the innate anti-proton plot. So for example, if my ship has 27.3% crit chance and 120.2 crit severity, this array, we would just say deals 200% crit severity, would get me to 154 damage. Okay, let's say I increase my crit chance by 1%, so it would, instead of 27, be 28. Then this would change to 156.6. So if we switch these numbers back and just say we increase our crit severity by 10%, you would see that the actual damage would be increased by a little. Okay, that is why I currently run the bioneural infusion circuits over the tachyokinetic, just because 10% crit severity is right now worth more for me than 1% crit chance. That is because I already have a very high crit chance. So you basically have to do this calculation if you want to know which one is better, because it really depends on your current situation. There is this page where you can enter your stats, but as far as I know, it's not up to date. So basically do the math on your own. Other than that, the general rule of thumb is go crit damage on weapons, go crit H on consoles, as you would get way more effective stats basically for going for the attack console. Like this one is worth around like 25% crit damage, but if I had the crit damage console, it would only give me like 10, even upgraded. Okay, so that's why we do this. The penetration, as I said, can be good if you don't have debuffed enemies. The crit H can be almost competitive if you have Federation ships, which have low crit H values usually, as you don't get as many superior Romulan operatives, so you don't get as many attack consoles for beamboats. So that is where this is coming from. Okay. It's actually not that difficult. You just have to think about how much damage do I contribute from non-critical strikes. I norm these to be 100 damage per strike, and then I increase this by my crit severity. So if I shoot my enemy with 200% damage, on top of my original damage, I would deal 300 instead of 100 if I crit him. and that is why crit chance and crit severity are so good in this game, because you can stack them onto each other. They benefit each other every time. Okay.